They tryna turn Trenton into Baby Flint. Wow. Been signs by depression on the billboards ever since. 100 years ago we was lynched. Now they use germ warfare to kill us. I'm convinced, got the evidence. I look around and it's evident. Then go down to City Hall and see so much negligence. Real art is intelligent. A true artist sends messages that speak to your intelligence. They fought and died so I can do my thing. Not to get drunk and high or join no game. I will not let none of you die in vain. For my people I bang, bang, bang. My ancestors been through so much. In everything I do, in every place I go. They say post-traumatic slavery disorder's fake, but I just tell them all to wake up. Everything we went through, what a way down a rape, bro. Isn't our genetic makeup. So I am my ancestors from block to block. Let's build like it's Tetris. We must unite, link up like a necklace. They fought and died and we disrespected. So I come to correct it. The legacy they left I protected. We only think about self and neglected. You're African but yet you rejected. No, my ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. My ancestors been through so much pain. I don't let them die in vain. I rep for you in everything I do. I rep for you in every place I go. I rep for you in everything I do. In every place I go. I do. I go.
Welcome back to another edition of New Freedom Exchange, your cultural expression for social dignity and community development empowerment. I'm your co-host, Brother Deen, here with...
Assalamu alaikum, Sister Marsha. How you guys doing today?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Feeling good, Sister Marsha, alhamdulillah. That is good. The creator's good, man.
Also, we got our co-host, brother Bachelor.
New title.
Even Bilal Hassan. What's going on?
Alhamdulillah, man. They gave beloveds to bless people with a new title, the eligible bachelor. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You know, I guess we're gonna play what you call it? What's that show used to come on ABC? Eligible Bachelor. What? No, yeah. The Bachelor. We're gonna have the Muslim version of that. You know what I'm saying? I've been. So I'm the first contestant up. You know, for this season. So, alhamdulillah. But everything else is good, man. I can't complain. The weather was nice today. I was outside today. Definitely refreshing breeze. Definitely less humid. I don't really like when the humidity is like super high. Right. It makes it very oppressive and can be very sticky. So definitely appreciated the weather change for once. You know. Yeah. How about you, Sister Marsha?
Actually, I've been in all day.
You need to get some vitamin D, sister. Come on, man. Get some sun.
Go outside. Listen, I just been on my grind today, trying to get stuff that was sort of just lingering done. So
yeah, that's for you.
I see the sun shining out there. I just haven't experienced any of it.
Okay, it's okay. It's okay because tomorrow's gonna be nice too. But
excellent. Yeah, today was a good day over here as well. Good weather. Cool. We did a mental health walk with the men in this morning, so it was pretty nice out in the community. I didn't know something. I found something new. I learned something new today about those. I don't know if you noticed, like in certain public housing, they have like the community policing buildings or those administration buildings. One of the brother was telling us that technically those buildings are supposed to be for workforce development. And people that go through housing, it's supposed to be on a 2-year, 24-month plan.
Okay.
And they supposed to be getting integrated with financial literacy and workforce development and how to make a budget and all these things. And he gave us this whole runaround on how they just keep us in there for extended period of time.
Right.
So that was very interesting to learn today.
I know there's a program here, and I guess it's national because it's with public housing, which is HUD. I actually work for the housing authority here in Jersey City, and there was some national funding called Hope 6, and so that funding was to tear down the high rises and build homes, right? So we have a few housing projects here that went through that transformation where the tall buildings were taken down and townhomes were created. But in that program, there was also a self-sufficiency program that was established where pretty much what Dean was explaining, that the residents gain access to programming to help them to move beyond where they were economically in the housing facility. So it sounds similar.
Yeah, because they were supposed to, I guess, get them prepared to be homeowners.
Right, and we have that too. So that was the Hope 6 program. As a matter of fact, I have a relative who went through that program and was able to obtain a home as well. So I know it's possible.
Yeah. Yeah, so we got to work on that because one of the main reason why most people are not getting through that because they don't know.
Right.
So that's one of our purposes here is to educate the people and the public. So, but we do have a great show today. We're still continuing. We're on the last couple of days, today and tomorrow of the month of New Africa, August. So we're closing it out with a bang. We have here, I think, Brother Imam Bilal is going to give us the. You got the. I was about to say the resume, but the bio. It's not a job interview. The bio about their sister.
Well, I'll bring the sister in.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, that's
yes. It's Marsha. Marsha is doing
right.
the honors. Marsha's doing the honors.
Yeah. I'm gonna bring the in. So Boshia Regine is a transformational speaker, model, artist, teacher, and art director from Newark, New Jersey. Okay, Newark.
Oh, Brick City.
That's right, Brick City's finest, man.
Oh man.
Put here to make change. Her purpose is to educate humans on the importance of the foundation in our humanity through the Black sci-fi experience. I want to know a little bit more about that. And Afrofuturism. I'm interested. She uses her bold lyrics, fashion, and content to question the world we live in. She's a hip-hop culture critic that provokes critical thought on the exploitation of hip-hop culture today. By focusing on 2 of the 4 elements of hip-hop, and dance, introducing curriculums, she's built to teach students from early childhood to professional development. She's shifting the way hip-hop is seen and utilized in academia, fashion, film, and social media. Through her fresh perspective and passion, she's connecting humanity with the power of hip-hop. It is one of her many purposes to manifest a space for humanity to build social, communal, and global change with and through the art of hip-hop. All right, Sister Boshia, we ready for you, sis.
Let's bring it in. Welcome to New Freedom Exchange.
Assalamu
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullah. How are you doing?
We're doing well.
Alhamdulillah.
Wow, we can moment with you.
Alhamdulillah. I love it. How's everyone feeling today?
We're good.
Great.
Thank you so much for having me. I love this platform. I appreciate the love that you guys show, as well as just connecting everyone with everything that needs to be heard. So I appreciate the platform for sure.
Cool.
No doubt. I mean, Marsha, you can kick us off. You can get right. We know you got something in the chamber already. So
absolutely,
kick us right off.
I already watched some of Sis videos. I was like, okay, I'm getting my skincare on.
I love it.
How to get our face together. But one thing I noticed too about you is that like your spirit is so peaceful, and I love that about you. Like it's really tranquil and calm. And so I just want to sort of know, where does that come from, right? Who is Boshia? Where does that peaceful, calm spirit come from?
Wow, that's a beautiful question. I think it took some time to develop, because I come from a space where, like, somebody was to say something about my mother and disrespect my mother, I was just like, I didn't care if you were, sticks and stones, gonna break your bones.
Exactly.
So, it came from, just a space of like really wanting to calm down. And I could definitely say, like, I went through a lot of journeying through Pan-African culture and like Black religion, and just learning more about like the different elements and oils, just, healing the mind, body, and spirit. But within spirituality, I came across like so much knowledge through African scholars that were Muslim. And it was just this energy that I always wanted to have and always wanted to like live. And I think it took me some time to actually like get there. But Islam is that what you see is I'm a reflection of you, sis. I'm a reflection of, Imam Bilal Hassan and Deen as well. Like we are all like, reflections of our inner peace. And I think like having that understanding of like, I don't want to go back to that, like, because I did convert to Islam in 2015. Having that understanding of like, just popping off, like, because anyone said anything, like just, ready to put the Vaseline on. I think like just coming from there and like,
she from Brick City talking about the Vaseline.
Yes, I'm like, okay, I'm from Jersey.
What you talking about?
Oh yeah, from Jersey. Where from Jersey?
I'm from Jersey City.
Hey, okay, Jersey City. That's what's up. I love Jersey City. I'm always out there. Yeah, right. It's literally right over the bridge. Exactly. So. But I think that's, that's just like me really wanting to have that sense of like self. And I was always searching, for what that looked like. And Islam laid it all out for me. Islam was like just this space in which it was like, okay, this is the person you want to be, so you have to follow this discipline and this kind of like strict guideline. At the time it seemed strict to me, but now it's like it's necessary. It's a necessity. So it definitely comes from like not wanting to go back to, Boshia popping off and like just like wanting to be in a peaceful space and like just picking my battles, I think, and loving without fear. That's something that I'm learning and constantly reminding myself that, humanity has their flaws, and so not bringing my, anger always into situations, but assessing everyone's jihad, assessing everyone's struggle, and understanding that everyone has their own struggle. I think it's really like that piece of like, I can't judge you for nothing. Like I'm still working out my stuff, and I can never look at someone and judge them because of all the stuff I've been through before coming to Islam. So the piece is just like a reflection of the people that I see in front of me, like you all. So definitely having that understanding of a human soul and like that, just that sensitivity towards it helps me to be very gentle and like, tranquil with, people and myself as well. Just, being patient with myself and loving myself.
So what, you mentioned Al-Islam, you mentioned you're reverted in 2015. So you're very new. You're very new to some people, very new in Al-Islam. I wanted to ask more specifically, like your journey to Al-Islam. Like how did you discover it, and through what means, and like what was your journey like religiously or / spiritually, if you don't mind getting into that?
Not at all. Like within the journey, I think like within Islam thus far and just like leading up to it, I would say briefly, but I questioned it so much because like my uncles from Newark, New Jersey, they're Muslim and they out here, rocking the kufi and the whole.
I forgot my kufi today. I forgot my kufi today.
Gotta have a kufi, man. But rocking the kufi, rocking the whole thing, the thobe, and I'm like, yo, we're in North New Jersey. This is not Saudi Arabia. Like, why are you walking around like this? I was so confused. I was like, this is not Mecca. Like, you don't have to walk around like we're jeans and a t-shirt like everyone else, right? So I was just so confused. Like, but they were like, this is how I express myself, and I love Islam, so I don't care where I go. Like, I'm gonna like dress like this, and so I was so curious about it, and asking them about it was like, a place where I probably shouldn't have because no offense, but brothers be coming off so oppressive. I be like, what is this? I can't do it. And he was like, as a Muslim, you want to to be a Muslima, you know, you have to do this, you have to give up this, you have to stop doing that, and you have to. And I was just like, he's like, you know, this and this, haram, haram, haram. I was like,
they're coming too hard, sis. They're coming too hard, and that also just throws people off sometimes. So so I guess you just have thick skin, like you just didn't mind.
Well, actually with that I was like, oh, that's not for me, you know. And
okay,
I was just like, nah, like it's not for me, like absolutely not. You're not gonna sit there and tell me like what I can and cannot do. Only God can do that, you know. So it took me some time, and that was like when I was like, I think 15, and I would say definitely 10 years later, it came to like me meeting these amazing, graceful, peaceful women that I was just like, why are you this way? Like, I was like, how are you this way? Like, you're wearing a scarf and like you're hot. It's summertime, you know, like, and you know, they would just be like, you know, there's so much more to Islam than like what you see in mass media and like what you think it is. You know, it all depends on who's teaching you. And you know, one of my close friends, really, like, I met her through someone else because she's a poet, and I was like, oh, she's you know, she's a poet, and like, you know, she's throwing down, and I was just like, yo, what's up? And the brother, I was like, can you introduce us? He's like, yeah, no problem. Took him a while. I was like, don't get jealous now, you know, like sisters like to bond, you know, let's connect. And then I came back and I was like, listen, you still haven't connected with that sister. And so once we connected, you know, I just saw the way she lived, really. Like, she was just a beautiful reflection of Islam and just being herself in her natural fitra. Like, she was just herself. And I just took to that so easily. And I was just so like, how is these women? And she was just like, what do you mean? And I was like, I'm just curious, you know, is it, you know, oppressive? Like, do you feel like constricted? And she was like, no, I love Islam. Like, Allah is my close friend. And I was just like, wow. Like, you know, I was just like, what? Like, I never heard anything like that before. Like, she, you know, I coming from Christianity, like, people said Jesus and like, you know, being, you know, their rock and everything. So just like the way she spoke about Islam, and then she introduced me to this sister Hajja Latifa, who really just, like, she floored me. Like, she just basically showed me the beauty of Islam from a woman's perspective. And I just was like, you know what, this is so beautiful. And I was like, and it was one day, I could say, I walked into her house and she was playing the satellite of Mecca at Hajj. And I was just there, it was like during Hajj time too. And she was just like, yeah, you know, she started talking to me. I was like, wait, what is that beautiful sound? And she was like, oh, you know, I'm just playing Hajj on the, you know, on the Mecca on the TV, the satellite. And I was like, oh, wow, you know, and I was like, this is so beautiful. I was like, do you have to be Muslim to go there? And she was like, it's actually like a pilgrimage that Muslims, you know, do. You know, everyone has their pilgrimages. And I was like, wow. I was like, well, you know, sign me up. Like, I want to go there. This seems amazing. This seems like heaven on earth, you know? And she was just like, well, you know, let me just talk to you more about it. And so from there, like, I was just around sisters all the time, and they filled me up with so much information, love, and support and sisterhood that I never thought I could have. And it was just so, because I came from, like, you know, that kind of mentality, like, oh, I can't be around girls, you know, I only have guy friends because girls are so dramatic, you know. And like with Islam, it's not like that at all. Like, my sisters are like there for me, and they support me, and they keep it real with me. And I'm just so grateful to have seen Islam in that light. And then that's what was like, okay, you know what, I'm ready to take my shahada. And so alhamdulillah, you know, I've been Muslim for 5 years, and it's just something that I'm so grateful for.
Yeah. Round of applause for that. Round of applause for that. Everything that's going on in this world, for you to hold on to your faith and make it this long, it's definitely a triumph. I think about in business, and I'm from Brick City too, by the way. Beth Israel Hospital, 14th Avenue, 257 South Orange. You know, Master Muhammad. But you know, the whole nine. She Master Muhammad too. You know, we hold it down over here. Yeah, we get it in over here. But the one thing I appreciated in your story, as you shared the impact on your life, on your soul, and on your, you know, your spirit, how the sister told you, you know, let me give you a little more information, a little more knowledge. Let you take time with it. I really appreciate that when I hear different people who come or revert back to Islam, how the people who they connected with give them that caution, right, or that consideration to take your time with it. Don't make it a fad. Don't get excited. I guess in your sojourn over these last 5 years, what are some things that you had to catch yourself doing that you probably, you know, probably wouldn't have done if you didn't have that advice, like to take your time with it? Like, is there some things that you probably did, just out of excitement and then it was too much, or like, how does that work?
I definitely will say, like, one part that I left out is that before I, converted, which I like kind of condensed the story, like before I converted, I was always like learning. And before I met the sister, it was 2 years before I actually met my actual mentor. I'll call her my mentor, that I was actually like just looking up, because I was studying like theology and stuff like that. And it was between Buddhism and Islam for me, like just like learning more about like religion in general, because I'm a reader. Like I can't just do things blindly. And so there was just some things I did not really know about, and like how things were done. And so she just got down to the very like nitty gritty detail. And so within that, like I think just her really being like, just be yourself, like, if you're coming into something, don't, rush it. So I would say, first and foremost is the marriage, like getting married. And it was something that I could have, looking back, I could have waited before I got married, because it ended before it even began. But I think, just seeing it as a beautiful thing, because before that I was like, marriage, who? Like, I don't like, these guys are crazy out here. I don't believe in that. I was like, that's one thing about Islam. I don't know about the marriage part. And then, people were like, but this is half of your deen, like, I'm just like, well, I'm sorry, Allah's gonna have to accept me without that, because I just can't deal with it. I was just fine with being alone. But I think once I experienced marriage, the little bit that I did, I remember her telling me that, just make sure you ask certain questions. And because I don't have a Muslim father, having a wakil there was really important. And I think having the right wakil there is so important. So now that I have the right wakil there, like, I'm like, okay, I can go about this in a whole nother way. But just seeing how that process, actually the work that it takes to actually search for the right person, and also just like not letting, certain outside parties, become a damper on your marriage, or like just kind of like feed, this kind of like energy into your marriage. So that would be one of the things. And I think just also like choosing the right people to like grow within Islam. Definitely. That's a huge thing that I've learned. And it took me just really, having falling outs with certain friends, and then us like choosing to love each other from a distance, and realizing like we're both on different journeys. And at the same time, like, like loving the fact that I went through that, and the understanding of tawakkul, because I did not understand what it was until like certain things started happening. Like, and I was just like, why are you doing this to me? Like, I don't understand. Like, and then that's when I realized, like, I had to be content with everything Allah threw at me. Like because I would make these du'as for like Allah to give me patience. But then like I realized like now that wasn't the right du'a, because then like Allah started throwing all these things at me to see if I was like gonna like develop this strong patience. And I was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna learn how to make dua properly, because that wasn't the right dua to make. So like just learning, going forth, like just learning how to make dua, like specifically how to actually make, that dua, and just being direct and being like Allah's right there in front of me, So like that was something I didn't understand at first, but I feel like I have grown this closeness, alhamdulillah, to my creator, and I feel like I'm growing. But I feel like still I have a far ways to go, and I'm just grateful for the humility that Allah's put in my heart, because there was a time when your girl was not remorseful, she was not apologizing for nothing. Like, I did not do that, you did that, absolutely not. Like, so I think just learning, but still there was this arrogance about me when I first converted, where I was just like very self-righteous, like, and I was just like, try to tell people about themselves, like, but that's not astaghfirullah, like, oh my God.
Man.
Like, it was horrible, like, and I could definitely say, like, I've made those, apologies that I had to make, and like just really ask my friends for forgiveness, and they're just like, Boshia, I love you, girl, like, it's okay, but just don't do that again, So it comes, down to just paying attention. I think like we can hear very well if, we're not hearing impaired, because some people don't have that ability to hear, alhamdulillah, we have our hearing. But at the same time, like, listening is a whole different thing. Listening is like understanding, like actually processing. So I think like I'm learning how to listen. That's something that I didn't know before, because she kept telling me all these things. I was like, sure, yep. Yep, I got you. Yep, taking notes. But like, no, it didn't really hit until it actually hit. So, yeah.
So tell us about your love for hip hop, and then I want to hear about the black sci-fi
And the Afro
all that.
futurism. Mm-hmm.
Definitely, like hip hop just like really helped me to like grow into who I am today. Like if I didn't have hip hop there as like,
Mm-hmm.
just a space where I could be my natural self, I most likely I wouldn't have become Muslim, because I think about it, like Allah put something like this here, like a message that we can also understand. Like this comes to the people when they need it the most, or it comes to the language, in the language of the people that they understand it. And so, I remember just like rocking out to like some Rakim, and just like listening, like, and understanding, like, yes, this brother's speaking from a whole different ideology, but at the same time, the way he talks about Islam as well made me just so curious about it.
Knowledge of self.
Yeah, 100%, because you can't have that without, you can't have knowledge of self and think about even getting close to Allah, because if you don't understand yourself, like have some type of understanding, how are you even gonna understand like your creator? So that, from one point, like, just dipping into like understanding, the social change means it has. Like, this hip hop is a means for social change, full stop. Like, it has changed the world. It has come from the Bronx to spread across the world. So I remember it grew to be something that I was like sneaking around with, because my mom would not let me listen to no hip hop. Like, she's like, okay, you can listen to 411, Mary J. Blige, you can listen to Erykah Badu. She always played the Erykah Badu live album. Always played Lauryn Hill, and those were that was my exposure, like, to a minimum. But then, like, it wasn't until I started going to school and like people were like playing stuff, I was like, what's that? It was like, you never heard of this? Like, they're like, I'm like, no, what's that? Like, they would play it, and I'm just like, wow, like, who is this? And we had the CD player, plug it up, and they played the CDs, and that's when I knew, like, my connection to hip hop was way deeper than just like listening to music, but like the storytelling found me. Like, it found me and it connected with me, and I was able to actually understand who I was through that. Like there was this one, I was thinking about this line that Lauryn Hill said, and I really felt like that, because I was like that kid that tried to like fit in, but still was like, I was like standing out no matter what I tried to do. And I was always like into my books and like learning new things. And there's this one line she says, I had to add a mother effort so you ignorant niggas hear me. And I think about that in a sense of like, I can't tell you how many times I just try to say things plain for people, but in a way that's like, in the English language, like, why do you talk like that? Why do you talk like that? Like, you sound so white. Like, you sound so white. And I
I hate.
remember,
Yeah, that's so ignorant, man. Those kind of statements are so ignorant.
yeah, it's only because of growing up around like a certain, like, just understanding that how you speaking, like, articulating yourself in a way that's like expressing the language and having that diction is like a problem. But it's only because as Black people, we are taught, like, growing up, like, oh, you got to be cool, you got to fit in, and this is the way to fit in, when that was never our way to fit in. We come from scholars and kings and queens, and so I never felt like I had to do that. I just felt like this is just a phase that's going through. So hip hop like really just put that in perspective. Listening to like Mos Def, Talib Kweli, like I was just like, these guys are very intelligent, so I don't understand what your problem is. Like, Lauryn Hill is very intelligent, so like I understand. But there's also that side of hip hop where you have like the 50 Cents, and you have like coming into like just understanding the gangster rap. You have like, I could go all the way to like NWA, and like, but it still had a purpose. You know what I'm saying? It still had a purpose. It had a message. So there is just a balanced way of connecting with my people, and hip hop is that like balanced way, like, shall I say, like, just to connect and build. And I learned so much about myself within writing my own lyrics that I was afraid to be vulnerable about writing about certain things. I only wrote about misogynistic behavior, that I didn't like to see in society. I never wrote about my journey and my struggle. So like I'm doing that now, alhamdulillah, you know, in my like journey of writing music, but at the same time having that same boom bap hip hop energy. I think just bringing that all back and connecting that to who I am and my love for hip hop, because it helped me to see Islam in such a beautiful light, and it didn't click until it clicked. Like that's what everything has been like, you know, throughout my whole life. It's like I'm consuming all this information, I'm consuming, and then I'm like, oh, that's what that meant. And then it's just like, okay, I just need to take a second, you know. So hip hop has been that platform, and you know, going into that is just so helpful for me to connect with my students, because I teach them how to form bars, how to express themselves in an intellectual way without being too preachy, without you know, having this, you know, space in which like they are just talking about one thing because they think that that's dope. And I just try to connect with these young kings and queens through the element of emceeing, through hip hop, because they love to write. They love to deliver their lyrics. They love to be presented as this powerful force. And can I say, emceeing has made so many dope people within the programs that I teach. Like these kids, like they want to go off to be lawyers. They're like, you know what, emceeing helped me to want to, like, I'm the queen of my debate team because emceeing. And I'm like, go ahead. Like,
That's
I
right.
love that. You know, but it's a tool. It's a means, alhamdulillah, for people to speak their truth. It is a means. And I feel like it really helps us to understand and break down like why Allah does what Allah does, because we have all of these different, you know, places in history that things were broken down and given to us. Religion, you know, Christianity, you know, like Judaism, you know, the Injil was given to us through, you know, Allah sending down so many scriptures. And like, you think by now we would get racism is evil. You think by now we would get it. But it takes hip hop to really cut through all of that. Look how fast like this genre has grown. Everyone across the world knows hip hop and has interpreted it in their own way, in their own language. And it's the most like, it's the largest growing, like just like Islam, the largest growing genre of music. So like how I look at it is that the same connection I have, and I do feel like hip hop is bigger than religion. People don't understand this is because it's not too preachy. Like religion can become preachy and people feel judged, and people don't want to be a part of something that they feel like everyone's looking over their shoulder. You know what I mean? Only God could judge them. So why do we as human beings feel like we have the right to judge anyone? You know, hip hop gives us that safe space to just be. I feel that's just my opinion, but
so where does the Afrofuturism, the Black mystic magic come into the play with the hip hop and your artistry and just you as a person?
Well, the mystic magic.
I'm sorry. Yes.
Where you going at? You really going in.
Like, we're good. But that's funny. I'm thinking about it in a way where people connect that, you know, the Afrofuturism to Black magic, the stars and the cosmos. But what I can say is that Afrofuturism is the knowledge of self systemic of hip hop. Afrofuturism is knowing these things, STEM and history. You could literally look it up. It's like very, very clear as day that STEM is an important part of the African diasporic experience, because we need science, technology, economics, and math to be able to connect the dots, learn our history, and to build. Right? We need all these things. The science is the elements that we can utilize so that we can make medicine, so that we can, you know, make things make sense as far as historically and as well as like presently, and as well as the technology. Technology has developed us so much as a human family, period. So having that within Afrofuturism is literally the main part. It's like the technology will help us to connect each other to build our economy, which it already has done. Because, might I add, Black women are the fastest growing entrepreneurs in the whole entire world.
Yes.
So, and that's because of technology, you know? So You have Black women in tech doing their thing,
Mm-hmm.
and we're growing. So economics just connects right back to that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is it's already happening. It's been happening since Africa Bambaataa. Like, it's been happening. So having that, connectivity, which I don't even want to, let me not, because I was about to step into like what African Bambaataa got going on, but I'm not.
Yeah, let's, we're not gonna dwell on that.
Because I was just thinking about that. But the economics part of it is just us really being able to build. And a lot of people don't think this is important, but there's a lot of like things going on, like where they'll be like, oh yeah, in your community, invest in these properties, and then they give you the runaround at the city hall. And what I've learned is that my main thing is just, I'm just gonna invest in Africa, but at the same time learning about my Aboriginal and Indigenous people here, and how can I go around the red tape, knowing that there's another constitution, right? And that goes all the way back to understanding the economics and the math portion of it, adding up the years. This doesn't make sense. This is the actual date that they're saying this Juneteenth happened, but this actually happened on Juneteenth, which is the fact that they took Aboriginal and Indigenous people's whole entire like national, like they basically was like, oh, you guys are Africans now, so that means you're not from here. And so my ancestors, right, are Lene Lenape. My ancestors are Mandinka, because why? Mandinkas came here, okay, and that's how my mother and like the side of my mother's family like got intertwined with that, and that was like a marriage through like peacemaking, and that's happened for so long. And that marriage between the Lenape that are from here, that are born here, Aboriginals from here, and the Mandinkas that are like voyaging to this land, right? Historically, that's Afrofuturism, because we have a mix of people. Like you could talk to any Black person's like grandmother or great grandma. Oh, we Indian, and then people laugh at you in school. Like, what are you talking about? Like, you're not Indian. You see the Indians in Pocahontas, you don't look like them. Like, hello, that is not
My
somebody...
edges. I'm Indian, girl.
Right? Like, they just looking at you like, what are you talking about? But it's facts. Like, we actually are. James Baldwin said the American Negro is the American Indian, period. And so we have to start talking about that. With Afrofuturism, it's like we have to project, like we see, but only Allah knows. We have to plan as though we know Black people are in the future, and stop dealing with this current constitution we have, which is a constitution made for white people. They were scared, right? They were scared because they were coming into a land that isn't theirs. It still isn't theirs. I still call them white refugees, but that's beyond the point. Because they're coming into a land that isn't theirs. They're like, oh, how are we gonna do this? Okay, you know what? We're gonna make a constitution. We're gonna force them to give us their land, and we're gonna give them the beans in exchange. That's literally what happened to Manhattan, right? The Lene Lenape owned Manhattan. They had a gun to them. They had a gun to their face and said, take this chest of beans and sign over Manhattan to us. No peace treaty involved. If we look at all of the things that they have done, they have broken several peace treaties historically. Several. Because a peace treaty is to not harm people. How many Black people have they harmed? But the thing is with us is that we think that we want this, we want to be seen as equal. I know within the American Constitution that is for white people, I'm not going to be equal, because that is not my Constitution. It literally states within the Constitution, you can look this up historically, that there's another Constitution that exists in this country. And so this is what Afrofuturism is all about, like doing thorough research so that we can also like have some type of like understanding and projection, some type of synopsis of what the future of Black people is going to look like. But we can't do that if we keep, oh, woe is me, let's vote for this president. And this system is rigged. This system is so toxic. It's not going to work. It is so like, it's like a foundation of a house, and you walk in and somebody's like, oh, your foundation is actually rotted, but we can still make it work. It's like, bro, just tear down the house. Like, just build a new house. Like, that's it. And that's what needs to be done. And I think once we see things like, this, what I'm talking about with the, people like, oh, where did the Mayans go? Where did the Aztec people go? They're in us. They are us. Our blood, like we could probably like research that with our DNA research and figure out like, oh wow, the Mandinkas came together with the Aztec and Mayan people and literally made these amazing, like new generational Afrofuturistic babies, like, and that's what I come from, is that I know that this is my land. So no one can run me out, but at the same time, being displaced in this uncomfortable, like, patriarchal war is not okay for me. Like, I can't fight. Okay, boom, I'm a Black woman, right? But then it's like, oh, you Black or you a woman? Which one you want to be? Like, so it's like, okay, if you don't understand this, I'm gonna say this, that if I don't speak like what I'm saying to you now, if I don't say this and say these things, I'm going to keep thinking that if I would have said this before, maybe it would have had an effect on people. And at the same time, for years, Black women have been suppressed. Their voices have been suppressed. And that is why the world is the way it is now. And people will say, oh my gosh, here you go with that Black woman thing. But it's like, no, you can't do that anymore, because we have economic buying power. And that's the only thing the patriarchy understands, is money, numbers, and violence. And that is like a patriarchy that was set to say, oh, you know what, as Black men, we have freedom and we have all of these rights. So, that's great for us. But as a Black woman, you just got to tag along and accept these things. And that's just what it is. And, yes, the white man is oppressive, but we have our rights. And it's like, no, but you have your rights. Like, as Black women, we don't. And so Black women are mothers of civilization. We could go back to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu and thinking about, the woman who raised him. Thinking about all the prophets and like where Islam started before Islamic times in Abyssinia. Like, we can go there, or we can go back even further. Like, if you want, we could do that. But this is Afrofuturism, understanding your history and knowing that everything that has been built, the connectivity. Anybody who try to tell me, oh yeah, I'm not Black, I'm Semitic, I'm like, boo. Check your bloodline. Trust and tell me you are Black up in there, okay? So you better protect the Black woman, no matter who you are, because this is literally the problem that we have. Black women are not protected, and that is why things are the way they are. And everyone knows in society, once the Black woman is free, like, the whole world could be free. It's just not about the Black man, just the Black man. It's about the Black woman. Like, I was upset when everything happened with George Floyd, and then I immediately realized, like, no one made an uproar as much as they did for George Floyd as they did for Breonna Taylor.
I watched something about that yesterday.
That's a good point. This is a good point. This is a very good point. Very good point. Very good point.
Exactly what you're saying right now, in that, and the woman who was speaking, it was a professor. She had mentioned, for the Black man, when something happens, we come out of homes and we do everything necessary to have our voices heard, but that doesn't necessarily happen the same when something happens to the Black woman. So to that point, I just want to say that is, discussion that is happening around the world now, just to bring light to that. What I wanted to sort of circle back to, right, was that you had talked before about accepting Al-Islam and having people kind of say, you can't do this, you can't do this, you can't do this, and you can't do that. and now you're here, we're talking, hip hop artists, we're talking teacher, we're talking
everything, multi-talented sister.
Everything,
very
right?
multi-talented.
So I feel like that's so inspirational for young people to, and for people who are even sort of on the brink of sort of figuring out what they want to do in terms of their beliefs, to know that you can be Muslim and love hip hop. You can be Muslim and, be teaching people how to get cute.
Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all.
And so, I guess my question to you, as saying that, is to ask, what would be your advice to a young person considering Al-Islam, or already Muslim, born Muslim, but just struggling with who they are and trying to fit those things that they love into being Muslim?
I would definitely, that's a great question. I would definitely say, don't try to fit them into being a Muslim. I would just say, like, be a Muslim. Like, because being a Muslim does not look like everyone else. Everyone has their own path. Everyone has their own journey, and having that means that you are coming as you are. Like, come as you are to the Deen. Don't try to, and then after you want to make that step, don't try to be this super Muslim, like, just take it easy. That's one thing I had to learn, because I feel like, and I even with that, like, the Afrofuturistic perspective is like, that's why I made this character Infinity, that, like, it's kind of like she's my soul self, in a sense. Is like, she's always trying to be the super Muslim, like, and that's exactly what she is. And I had to separate the two, because I have goals Islamically, right? Those are the priority, because I know I can't be who I am anymore at this point. Like, Islam is my life. Like, I can't be who I am musically, artistically, being a teacher without the Deen. It is like my guideline. Like, just coming in and just being myself was like just how it was, and it just was an easy process to kind of just certain things I was able to pick up 5 times a day, praying, and like just the joy of like having that peace to go to throughout the day. And I definitely would say just being patient with yourself, something that is so important. Like, you're gonna want to be, oh, I'm gonna be doing these, all this zakat, and like doing this volunteering, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna do the first just. Alhamdulillah, if Allah puts that in your heart, please do it. If Allah makes it easy for you. But sometimes Allah wants us to come with the gifts Allah gave us, and to help us develop them while we're learning about Islam, like, and have that be something to be the threshold and the guide for us to develop our actual like understanding of something. Because if it wasn't for Islam, I wouldn't even go back to certain lyrics that I used to listen to, and like, oh my gosh, like, so like I could definitely say just coming as you are is like the best thing, because you're not coming with this kind of judgy perspective. You're not trying to be like, the super Muslim, but you're actually coming with like something to bring to the table, something to bring to the ummah that we can all utilize and grow from, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good point. I mean, Al Islam is for maturity. We grow in Al Islam. We constantly learn Al Islam throughout our life. So I'm saying there's no moment, there shouldn't be a moment where we're not coming into some sort of understanding about who we are, and who we are as believers, as mu'minun, as believers in Allah. So I think what you're saying is important too, because we do have extremes, and the Quran talks about those who go to the left, too far to the left, or too far to the right, and we see that in life. We see that in the political spectrum, too far to the left, too far to the right. And those things, a lot of those ideals and philosophies, we can't agree with as Muslims. This doesn't coincide with our faith. So you have Muslims talking about Muslims for Trump, Muslims for Biden. I mean, like, how can you swear yourself an oath to a particular ideology? We have to be careful of that. So I'm saying, even within the ranks of Al Islam, we have some serious problems with division amongst our ranks. And we have this thing here on New Freedom Exchange. That's why we named it this New Freedom Exchange. Because we say we're free in terms of physical bondage for the most part. For the most part. But there's this other aspect, like you said, the mental slavery, the economic slavery. We still go through slavery in some shape or some form, or some facet to people, and we want to be comfortable. We don't want to become too comfortable or too complacent with where we are as a people right now, because there's so much work that needs to be done, and there's so much work that the Muslims are blessed to have. We are blessed to have the Quran and the Uswa, the Sunnah of the Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. That by itself, those things by itself will bring light to the world. What I'm saying? And if used in the right way, what I'm saying? Because you have Muslims who have kind of gotten away from that, and they get into these extremes. Oh, music's haram. I mean, yes, certain music is haram. We know, brother. But get out of here with that. So I'm saying, like, because we know what they're trying to do. They try to sell you something that is their version of al-Islam, which is another form of slavery. So I'm saying, as a people, and I think it speaks to that. But I want to get into this, get a little more juicy. as far as you in the music game as a sister. Come on, let's be serious. As a
No, I'm
sister.
still laughing at
No,
Muslim for Trump, man.
yeah, no, there's such things. There's such things. Google it yourself. You find out. It's on Facebook too, by the
No.
way. No, you're not lying. Now let's get serious. This aspect of a Muslima, an African American woman, you are Muslima in this industry, in the industry. We always talk to all of our artists. A lot of artists have come through here, and we kind of want to get into this aspect of, you know, where where you are in your musical journey. How do you feel being Muslima in the industry? So I'm saying, because we've heard from a sister. One sister said, she almost got signed by the record label, and they said, "Well, how big is your butt?"
Wow.
I mean, I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked. So I'm saying I wasn't shocked by that, but it's like hearing it from you all is a different. It's a different thing. So it's totally different. So, can you speak to one, you as a Muslima African American woman in the industry? How has that been for you as an artist? And the second part of the question is how has the Muslim community, specifically the African American Muslim community, I ain't talking about everyone else, how has the African American Muslim community received you as an artist?
Well, I definitely would say first off is that I've been in the industry for 10 years. So like before I was Muslim, I was, already making music. My dad is in the music industry. My mom's family as well. I worked with so many different people, just like growing up, just like in the studio. That's like where I would be, And I'm also from, Jersey. So like that's a huge thing here. Like, that's just like a lot of artists here.
Yes.
So and I think just understanding who I was from jump, my dad always taught me, who I was. Just, I'm a queen, respect yourself, what I'm saying? Never wanted me to be a part of the industry because he knew the shicey stuff he was doing that other people was doing too. So I would say that I always knew about that. So regardless of when I entered, like, the industry working on my own, just like, because he wouldn't even give me an open door to go through, because he was just like, I don't want you a part. I want you to go be a doctor or a lawyer, like, And I was just like, that's great, but I'm an artist, So I think just entering into the industry and understanding that in the back of my head, there was always an opportunity to get signed. There was always an opportunity there. But I'm not the type of person to sell something that's so sacred as my soul to, like, just for anything. Like, that's just period. I wouldn't do that for anything at all. Like, my soul is priceless. So when you think about what that entails when it comes to your flesh and your body, like, showing off this and that and like doing that, I think it comes from a place where women have been taught this, like I said, this patriarchal view of what beauty is. And they think that they have to do that to sell records, when the fact is that the voices of women, like I said prior to, could change and balance the world to the point where we have no more like climate issues, to the point we have no more racism, very little racism, because obviously it's a human disease. But going forth with that, it was just something that it was always off limits for me to ever, like, that conversation never came up, just because of how much I respect myself. And also I know Taekwondo, so I dare someone to try
Sister
it.
is no joke. Hey, you hear a New Freedom Exchange? The sister is no joke. Don't not test the sister,
Close,
man.
don't get close.
I'm just like, but it has come up. So like,
Okay.
it'll come up where they be like, so do you feel like you should be making like any type of secular music in the industry? Like, do you feel like that's something you? And I just go like, the question that you asked me seems a little bit off base, because I feel like you would not be asking a brother that, because the industry is very sexist, just like the rest of the world. So With that being said, it always comes down to how I see women and how I see my mother, how I see women around me. And, you know, having people ask me, oh, you know, is like, even in photo shoots, like, oh, are you going to wear that the whole time? And it's just like, hold on, boss. Did you just ask me that? And I just go, wait, I know you saw my whole entire comp card. I know you talked to my agent. So that's just really disrespectful, and I don't appreciate that. And so I've even, you know, had to give like these kind of, I would say, diversity, equity, and inclusion workshops, like right on spot, like right. Okay, have a seat, pull up a chair. Where's your notebook and pen? You're gonna need that. And it just comes down to like understanding, like I said, the human's jihad, like, you know, the struggle of, you know, wanting to see flesh, or like just, or wanting to control the situation. And the problem is people don't realize it, but they are not as powerful as God will ever be. They will never be. And so when you have submitted your life to God, when you have submitted your life to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when you have done that with pure peace in your heart, knowing that this is the right thing for you, no struggle, no one can control you. Right. No one can tell you what to do or why you should do it or what they think they need to see from you because they feel like this would be better. No one. Because Allah protects you from that and puts this strength in your heart so hard that no one can ever break unless you yourself want to give that up. And I'm telling you right now, like I said, I did this interview with Dr. Bilal. I said, literally, I used to chase the dunya as if it was my last meal. Do you think I would ever go back to that if I'm already full off of Islam? So if anyone ever tells me, oh, like, you know, do you think that you could, I just do a look and that's it. I don't have to go any further than that. They're like, right. Because I am Allah's soldier. I am a soldier of love, pure love. So my energy towards people will never be to dismantle their whole existence, but it will be to let them know that you do not have control here. And that is why we are in the situation we are in, because man wants control more than they can ever have, and human beings give it away instead of giving it to God. So I say that to say that within the industry, it's never been something I ever, you know, realized that in that time, like I realized that was so toxic to the point where I said, you know what, this isn't for me. And at the time, people would call me like a feminist, and I had no idea what that was. I was just like, I don't know what that is. I just don't like, no, I take no disrespect, like Sister Soldier, you know, I don't, no disrespect, you know what I'm saying? And they were just like, okay, you know, and for some people that's odd. And I'm like, why is that odd? Like, you live in a patriarchal society that teaches you disrespecting women is your power. You should feel less of a man because of that. And the majority of the industry is full of men. And so that is a man's sexuality that wants to be shown on full force. That is a man, that's not a woman's sexuality. I promise you. I promise you. A woman's sexuality is very sapiosexual. Okay? Like, no, it's not at all, oh yeah, let me show you my butt. Oh yeah, let me show you this. It's not like that. Because if a woman has that time to do her processing and be herself and be with herself and God, she'll be like, boo, you don't know about this? Like, I'm an Erica Badu you real quick. You see how Andre 3000 flipped the script? Hello? Did you see how Colin flipped the script? I can just say, I'm just gonna say, like, but I'm just saying, you know, like, you know, that's a woman who understands who she is because she's growing to be close to herself and knowing who she is internally. And God is just showing her the way constantly, whether or not she's on the path of Islam or not. And I think that's the problem we have too, is not seeing certain things as like beautiful when we are coming out of, you know, these different perspectives. But we're Muslim, but at the same time, we're supposed to treat people like just with the utmost respect if they're Muslim or not. And so within that space, like how is it that we are in this, you know, kind of like pendulum where, you know, men feel as though that's important? It's because they've given into their nest. They've given in. They're just like, well, so are you going to show me your hair, or we're just going to have to sit here and talk about it? And it's like, bye, you lost your mind. Get out of here. You tripping. Like, I'm just like, and it's a joke to me. I just feel like, what are you on? Like, what did you do this morning? Too much caffeine? Like, you know, so I don't even take it. Like, I'm like, oh my gosh, like, why would you say that? No, I just be like, next, like, you are a joke. Like, literally, that's all I can, like, look at it as. It's like, you are struggling with yourself and your nest. So pass. Like, I can't work with you. And recently I just decided, like, I don't want that. I don't want those offerings. I don't want to work in the industry. You know, I don't want to sign to these labels. I just want to make music that has a staying power. And now how everything is, I have my own distribution company. I don't gotta, like, hit up no label for that. I just gotta build the connection with the people, the quality of people. I'm not about the quantity. I'm about the quality of people. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about how women perceive themselves and what they want. Some people are just so hungry. Everything is a dopamine thing. Like, oh my God, look how many likes. Look at how many views I have. And like, when somebody hits me with that, and I'll be like, oh, come on, like, seriously, how many extra rakahs did you do today? Like, how many astaghfirullahs did you do today, son? Like, why you care about that? Like, you know, it's not that important, because this is like, we live in an illusion. Like, look at the times we're in. We're literally like, look at the signs at the end of days, subhanallah, and people are still like, oh yeah, but these are also signs. Like, oh yeah, you know, I gotta get these likes, I gotta get this, I gotta, you know. So I just don't pay attention to any of that. And I think to feed into a man's nest, that is like the worst thing I could possibly do to my own self, because like it just winds up like being a whole entire disaster. So like, yeah, and even my own, for that matter.
You mentioned a lot here, and before we go into station identification, I'd just like to say that to add to that, we are living in this time of Pharaoh, where the order was given to kill off all newborn male babies, which is, if you're reading and understanding the parable, it's very speaking about the male is symbolic of leadership. You know what I'm saying? And when you cut that balance off, you're leaving the women, which is symbolic of the society of the world, to leave them to take on more responsibility. I have to do more. I have to do more. I have to do more. So there is no balance. So we're living out of whack. Everything is out of whack. You know what I'm saying? You know, this ultra feminism movement, which is very white and is deep into white supremacy. That's what feminism is. The original. That's where it's rooted at. You have that, and you have all these different extremes. You're having women that say we don't need men. Says astaghfirullah. You don't need a man. How are you gonna? I mean, what's going on? What's going on? Y'all crazy or something? It's like, it's out of whack. It's out of sorts, sister. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's robot, sex robots, all this kind of wacky, wonky stuff, man. This is surely the time of Pharaoh. And then what happened to Pharaoh? He was destroyed, but preserved as an example. This is what happens when you try to say what? That you think you're bigger than God. You think you're bigger than the Creator. This is what happens to you. Your schemes are weak. They're flimsy. So the Muslim comes, the believer comes again with a balanced way of life. It's balance. The male knows his responsibilities, or should know his responsibilities. We know how sisters are. The males ain't doing nothing. The males ain't squat. You know, we do dust. You know, but there's some brothers who is trying to do the right thing. You know what I'm saying? And we have to get our brothers together. So we understand our role of getting our brothers together. You know what I'm saying? And then the sisters, they understand their role and responsibility as well. So just want to put that in the atmosphere before we do station identification. But Deen, station ID, man.
Oh yeah. So you listening to New Freedom Exchange, your cultural expression for social dignity and community development empowerment. I'm your host, Brother Deen, here with co-host Sister Marsha and Imam Bilal. He's getting fired up. Look at his head. He's getting fired up. He's
I mean, the sister here, the sister right here. No, but
put some respect on her name. She's a Muslim with the keema, lady with the keema. I'm gonna play that track too. That's how I came to get to know you. But I'll get your brother Shadiaki. You know what I mean? But this is Boshia. She's here, the transformational artist, teacher, and all the. Now we've been getting some good conversation here. But Bilal, he can't hold on. Look, I'm gonna let him go back. The sister.
No, but the sister is very vibrant. You know what I'm saying? And you know. there's a couple things that stand out, about this situation. There's one, I saw that you got featured on BET. That was big. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, if Sabr is in the background.
No, it's please. This is the Center for
I'm
Human Development.
I'm the mother of cats. Well, just one cat. I'm the mother of a cat.
Harera.
Okay.
Yep.
Harera, we got Abu Harera up top. He got his
Yep.
cats.
Well, alhamdulillah. So I think I just wanted to touch on what you said, and I
Oh,
totally agree with
sure.
you. I appreciate you saying that, and I definitely feel like we all have our own perspectives, and at the end of the day, I would never have to call myself a feminist. Like I didn't know what that was before, because as a
No.
Muslima,
Yeah.
Allah has given me my divine rights, so I'm not going to fight for rights that a man has made when Allah has already
Right.
given me my rights. So being a Muslim, like that is literally like the highest form of whatever, feminism is.
That's
or
right.
whatever that is. So
That's right.
I definitely will say that for sure. But so everything that happened thus far leading up to my life, and then connecting with, the publications that I'm connected with, including BET, is just, a blessing, alhamdulillah. And I think really, I believe that really, like, Allah has made me for a specific purpose. And I always ask Allah and, to just really use me for bringing people to Islam,
Yes.
to keep people in Islam, to, just spread Islam in a beautiful light. And so this came about just within, the different connections I have in the industry, but then at the same time, they really want to bring more light to Islam and Muslims, because they have, a lot of just Christian publication on their actual, network. So things are in the work right now of, me developing some things with them as well, inshallah, make dua for that.
Ameen.
And bringing more Muslims through, so it's good to connect with you all. So like just giving them, that connection to different things that are going on within our, creative space, within our, podcast space, media space,
Yeah, all that.
just so that they could see like, oh, okay, y'all doing something, all right. Like we want to bring more of that on our, platform, because it does have a platform where there's a numbers thing where it's like, okay, we can reach more people to learn about Islam. And so that's like my intention when doing anything. And so that was such a beautiful experience to be able to be a part of their daily devotional, because they normally have a lot of Christians on there. So that, like, I was the first Muslim to be on there, alhamdulillah. And just really, alhamdulillah, many more, inshallah. I'm working on it. Just it's a lot of, red tape, obviously.
Of course.
Industry, but just really working on bringing more of us to those platforms so that we can talk about our experiences and like drop some gems, So I really am grateful for that, and really just being able to experience it was something. I believe like I wrote down something, and I have this manifestation journal that I have. And just looking back on it the other day, I started to cry, because I was like, wow, Allah, like you really, like I was talking when I wrote that, remember, because there was like, just this moment of like, I just want to do what it is you want me to do. Like, I don't know what I want to do anymore. Because I remember when I first converted, I was like, I don't want to make music if it's haram. Like, I'll give it up. Like, I just want to stay Muslim. That's all I want. And I remember I stopped making music for like 2 years. And something that one of my teachers said was like, Allah will, if you give it up for the sake of Allah, Allah will give it back to you and purify it. Like Allah will give it back to you purified. And I just started to cry, like, and I was just like, wow, subhanAllah, like, I just don't, like, I literally have all these things going on, but I just sit down, I'm like, Allah, I don't know what to do. Like, what do you want me to do? Because it's so much, and I'm just so grateful, alhamdulillah, but it's still like, I don't want my nafs to get caught up in it. I just all want this to be in my hand, in a space where I know it's safe from tainting my heart. So this opportunity came out of my du'as to Allah, like, just use me, like use me however you see is, like I can use my talents that you've given me to connect with my people. and on like all of the platforms, Black Entertainment Television. I was like, okay, I see you a lot. I was like, all right. I was like, that's what's up, you know. Like, so I remember like when that happened, I just cried, and I made like this this dua, like just out of appreciation and love, and just tears overflowing, because the gratitude was just like nothing I've ever felt. I think because I wrote it down previously thinking like I don't even know what I want to do, but I do know that with your, you know, with you watching me and protecting me, that if this is something good to do that. So like through that platform on BT, like daily devotional, I think that that is the best platform I could have entered in working with BT on.
Absolutely, I agree.
It's about spirituality and connectivity. So.
So earlier in the conversation, you described hip hop as storytelling. So my question to you is, what stories do your music?
So my music tells a story of a girl journeying to be a woman traveling from the future to come back into 2020 currently right now, to just really lay down justice, like without this meek energy, but with this energy of a Jamali energy, not a meek energy, but a strong, beautiful energy. And I feel like within that, the Jalali and Jamali energy is what my music portrays. So having this kind of like journey, understanding who I am as a Muslim, and now like, okay, I want to bring in my creativity to this and really just do this sci-fi situation. And so making that a world that people can actually connect with is, you know, having this character who is Infinity, who is like this Muslim superhero who's like coming from the future and coming back to kind of just like, you know, like let's get this justice handled because it doesn't look so good if this isn't taken care of, and kind of like being sent by the source of all power, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, like just having this kind of like sci-fi, you know, Muslim sci-fi kind of like perspective, I think. And just really like saying what needs to be said for right now. You know, I have a song on the journey to infinity called GMMR, Give Me My Rights, and really that comes from a space in which I think, and going back to what Imam Bilal said, that comes from a space in which I've seen so much of, you know, my life be women and myself not given the opportunity to have my rights given to me properly. And Islam really just is like, oh, well, this is your rights and this is what you have the right to. And so make sure you speak on that. And so I do feel like we will all be questioned on the day of judgment if we are not able to speak on the things Allah has given us, like to speak on, because if you can't, if you dislike something so much you can't change it with your mouth, your hands, or just like despising it so much, then like what is the point of Allah giving us these amazing guidelines, this amazing book, alhamdulillah, the Quran, you know? So like that is where I'm coming from with my music, and just utilizing it as a space where in the future it's like Islam is strange. Islam is like, this is a strange thing, you know, and I'm going off of what the Quran says it will be. And so the music is that journey to like, oh, if it was strange, and you know, all of these Black people living in this time and seeing what this is like, us all trying to connect together, you know, with all of our different human families, getting to know each other to the point where there's only small groups of us, you know, and it says that, and it's in the music, like it's in the music there, and just really depicting this as a space in which, like, you know, coming from the journey of reading and then like also seeing things in, you know, dream state. So like these are things I'm putting into my music from what Allah shows me and from what I read, and I just try my best to put it in a storytelling form that people can grasp. But right now I'm working on the book to my album so that it can actually
I was just about to say that. I was just about to say it sounds like a graphic novel. You know,
it is a graphic
what you
novel.
describe. Oh, okay. That sounds dope, man. Sounds dope. So who?
Hold on. We gotta get a track in, man. I love to listen to the sister. You know, she's going in. She's hitting us on all type of level. We gotta get it. I got 3 tracks in the chamber.
Okay.
I want Boshia to pick one of them and give us some insight on it. I'm gonna give you the names. One is Boss Lady, of course. That was the key bar. Then we got Knowledge, and then we got the joint I really like is Uploaded or Unloaded. Upload. Oh man. So you gotta pick one, and then you gotta give us some insight on it. Then I'm gonna play it, then we'll come right back. So you pick one. Give us some insight.
Okay, I'm definitely gonna pick Knowledge first.
Yeah.
So this song is all about just really reminding everyone that whether you are, Christian, Buddhist or whatever, that you should always want to learn more, question everything. That's why it's knowledge with the Q. And you should always want to understand how to grow from a woman. That's why it's knowledge with the Q, because the queen's out there. And also learn a little bit more about something you've never learned before, like Islam. And that's also why it's knowledge with a Q, because of the Quran. So, Q.
Dope. Oh, man. Sister's dropping the work now.
New Freedom Exchange special. Here we go. Check it out. Knowledge by Boshia.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Never fearful if this life gon' change her. I'ma tell you the truth, yeah, we all disappearer. I'ma tell the youth not be and despair. Yeah, what's the move with it though? Ho, gotta show some proof with it though, so they could be in the know. Go be that glow. Why be we queen come true grow? Why be we queen come true grow? You know that the truth has been here. Don't worry about them, this for your soul. Study to make them intentions clear. Bust true queens, break the molds. Grow in pains and shed all them tears. Clean in pains, heavy flow. Levels of this, pan them tears. I'm on point, stay on my toes. Still be kind to all these foes. Got no time, my soul got go. Go. It's way ahead, yo, you ain't no 5 trees, let's go, get that cold. Queen gon' get that knowledge. Queen gon' get your knowledge. Queen gon' get that knowledge. Queen gon' get that knowledge. Queen gon' get that knowledge. Queens every day, always. Yeah, queens all day we slay. Yeah, queens, know what I mean? Queens,
maybe them queens in a building, you feel me? Queens in a place to be right now.
Queens, come get that night, come get that night. You say that you a queen, but really do you research? Better go and get that knowledge or it will just hurt. The fact that you don't know your worth and it's been hidden under turf, and how you will never know unless you get up and go.
Oh man,
Sister was going in. Sister was going in, man.
Yes,
I told you. It's no joke, man. We got some talent. We got some talent. We got some talent in our community, man. We got some talent amongst us right now.
absolutely.
You know, that's what I'm saying. You know, so we definitely have to treasure, you know, and respect our this artistry, because through the artistry is like you said, Sister Boshia, through the artistry is what we, you know, is the messages. It's the messages of the times. You know, the message for the people. You know what I'm saying? Using that message as a positive tool. You know, so you know, I was going to ask you. You didn't answer my other question, so I have to circle back. But now you're gonna get another double whammy. I don't want to keep you. We don't want to keep you too long. But you know what I'm saying? You gotta get another double whammy. So the other question is, in your experience, or have you experienced, and generally, there's a lot of Muslim female artists that we listen to, and that some have been on the show already prior. Um,
Yes.
I know this thing, you know, it's none of my business no more. I took myself, I interjected myself out of the driver's seat for this issue. I will no longer be directly trying to bring sisters together to collaborate on in art, as far as the arts. I just find that there is this I don't know, amongst the sisters, this competition thing going on. Like some sisters don't like to work with the sisters, some sisters don't. Can you in your time, can you address?
Yeah, the brother been scarred, man. They've been treating our executive director hard, man. You know, he just want to make a connection.
He already hurt.
Wow. Well, I wanna like address that. I think, like I was saying before, it has a lot to do with like a systematic, like patriarchal, like way of thinking.
Wow, man.
It goes all the way back to a mental slavery, you know, like I have worked with numerous artists before I became Muslim, and you know, while I was Muslim. And one thing I know is that as women, like, we start to pick apart our insecurities in front of the other, and so one will either feel like, oh, I'm not ready to do this, or like, you're better than me, I don't think I should be, like, you know, out there, I want to do my own thing, because then people are gonna like pay attention to you, my followers are gonna be like trying to, like, it's a whole thing, and it's just like, I'm so confused.
This is nonsense, man.
This
is nonsense.
And I think it happens when, you know, you have been hurt so many times. Like, I really, like, I'm all about, you know, unity, and you know, like Queen Latifah, like, I'm all about it. And I think that we need to be doing like the UNITY Moni Love and Queen Latifah tracks. We need to be doing that. It's so important. And you know, I think right now it's about us healing as sisters and us really loving each other through, you know, whatever struggles may go down, and having that, you know, be something that we look at as a place to grow. So like, we may have these moments where, you know, where you go, you went to that realm and you came back.
Yeah, I went to the realm of Boshia, the realm that you created with the robots. Yeah, Black Futurism. You know, it went off to space.
The bloopers.
I love it. This is reality though, virtual reality for real.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just think it's one of those things we have to work on. Like, we have to, you know, communicate on. And I'm gonna say that there is a lot of drama in that space, and I just tend to.
Right.
Yes, you're like Sister Marsha. You know, tend to, you know, we don't. Yeah, we want peace.
That's
you don't want
no
like, drama, man.
I'm like, oh, you doing that? Nope, I don't want it. Like, and my friends know I'm guilty of this. They be like, and I'll be like, that sounds to me like fit. No, I'm sorry, I have to call you back.
No, it is. But it's
because I don't want any drama, and I think, as you know, we have gone through things. I would definitely say there's so much there to unpack as Black women that we have to do the research, and we have to really, like, there's a book I think everybody should read by Bell Hooks, Ain't I a Woman? I think everyone should read that book. And you know, just getting a deeper understanding of what it is like growing in a society where you are looked at as the lowest of the low. And I will say that because, you know, first there is like this kind of standard for women in general, and then there's like this standard for Black women that is just like a stereotype that, you know, it just systematically, you know, enslaves the mind. And so, like I said before, everyone has their jihad. So like, loving people past their struggle, which I try to be the queen of, like, I try to just, like, you know, I'm like, I know you were struggling, sis, and I'm like, I really understand. And then, you know, however they feel about me, they tell me, and I just say, well, I just want to say, I'm sorry if I made you feel like that. I tried my best, you know, to, like, you know, intentionally, like, really work with you. And sometimes you have to be a mirror for some people. Some people just really want you to be their emotional punching bag. And because she's not here for that, like, she just goes, like, sis, I'm trying to figure out when that happened. Like, can we actually, like, where's the evidence? Where's the dalil? Like, what is it?
That's right.
Like, you know, so, like, we'll do one of those, but then it's like, you know what, I realized that, you know, I'm really, like, not used to this much love, and, like, you really do care about me, and I really just gotta accept it. And, like, that's, like, my friends will say that to me, and I'm just like, yeah, I just want peace. Like, sisters, we gotta stick together. Like, that's it. Like, period. And I'm all about that. And to the point where I would like to say that I've learned that, you know, I'm an empath. And so I take on a lot of people's energy. Yeah. And I get exhausted. Like, oh my gosh, I get so exhausted, y'all. I'll be like, I can't do this right now. I see a call, I'll be like,
not today.
I'll be like, I'm like, okay, I don't want to block this person. This person's gonna think that but like, how do you temporarily block phone calls, period? Like, you know, still trying to figure that out without, like, you know, so I can still use my phone and do stuff. But it's just one of those things where, like, I only accept incoming calls from my mama. Like, I'm just like, if it's not my mom, I'm not answering the phone. So I go through those periods of time where I love on people and I'll talk to them, and, like, you know, I'm sorry that you felt that way, and you made me feel like this, and I'm like, well, I'm so sorry, you know what I mean? Because I have two extremes, and I have to find that balance where it's just, like, super loving, like, you know, like, understanding energy, and, like, where I care, and I'm like, oh, I feel your pain, and it's like, that don't got nothing to do with me, boo. It's like two different energy, like, and it's literally like polar opposites. So I'm working on the balance of that. Like, I really am. Yeah. But both of them, like, it's just like one thing linked to another. I'm like, oh, that sounds like a mess. I don't want nothing to do with it. Especially if I'm tired already. Like, I'm like, oh, that's going to exhaust me. I'm going to be going right to bed after this conversation. I don't want nothing to do with it. So it's just a matter of us as sisters knowing ourselves, and, like, knowing what happens when things can, like, be said, or, like, you know, as women, it's a lot of, and not a lot of, like, just really logicality sometimes. Like, I want to say, like, most women I know that I rock with, there's a logicality that it happens after a conversation, but throughout that whole period, it's like I don't know what it is. It's like assumptive nature. I don't know. It's just like you kind of assume that, and then it's just like, no, I grew up like around a lot of, you know, masculine energy because I played sports, and I was like, you know, and it was always like, get over it. Like, oh, get up off the floor. You wanted to play with us. Like, you know, you got to get over yourself. And so certain times I didn't have time to, like, express those emotions until I got into my, like, late teens. So certain things just kind of stuck with me where I'm just like, why are you upset? Like, there's no reason to be upset, you know? So it's all a work in progress. Make dua for us, you know, we're working on it, and, you know, inshallah we'll be able to come out with, like, a really beautiful, you know, just connection and collaboration collectively, because it does need to happen, and I totally am here for it. I love my sisters.
You made an important point too, that there is a historical impact on why that connection doesn't get made, and I think it relates back to your song Knowledge, right? It's you got to go get your knowledge, right? Don't just think that the connection is not being made just for the sake of the connection not being made. There's so much that has happened historically that has separated us from that loving, connecting, mutual, agreeable type of scenario that impacts us today still. And I know many of us would want to say that, you know, that's so far in the past that it doesn't have an impact today, but that's so far from the truth. And I think as we pay more attention, as we go get that knowledge, we definitely will see that there was a pattern of behavior that was developed over time that still has an impact today, and it's up to us to undo the damage that has been done. So I just thank you for even mentioning that, you know, there's this historical piece to it, and it's not just a connection not being made for the sake of a connection not being made.
100%.
So what can we all expect from Sister Boshia? The artist, the multi-talented artist, the everything, the educator, transformative educator, all the hats that you wear a lot of hats. What can we expect for the remainder of 2020 going into the remainder of 2020? Let's do that.
I'm doing that. I would definitely say it's only one Kimar, but it has a lot of, adornment.
Oh, okay, one Kimar. I'm sorry, one Kimar. Sorry, one Kimar.
No,
okay,
but it's okay. I like the hat thing. I just wanted to, update it and like make it me.
make it you.
Yes, fit me a little bit better. But I do have one Kimar and it has like a lot of adornments on it. It's pretty cute.
Yeah, there you go. That's it.
But definitely I'm putting out my first course. Hip Hop Hiatus is dropping tomorrow. So I'm going to be accepting registration for that. And it's a creative writing intensive. It's very intense. It's going to bring out a lot of, different emotions in people and really bring out some amazing content and just overall pieces. And I'm so excited about it because I did get to teach, some of my students. And these were high schoolers, and I played Jadakiss song Why. I remember that. And
classic.
Like this one girl, she was, from Sicilian. And, she broke down one of the words, and it's like, one of the questions that Jadakiss asked was why I guess like why are niggas on the corner selling like drugs, and she said, Ms. Boshia, I want to know if this is is when he says that N-word, is he referring to everyone? Because I was like, yeah, you know how black people could be, sometimes we just be referring to everyone as that, but then and then he was like or is he just referring to like black people? And I was like, oh, just black people. And she was like, okay, because I was gonna talk about the school to prison pipeline. Is that okay? And I was like, of course. Like, and this is like what we are trying to do. Doesn't matter how you look, you have to be educated, right? Like of what really like the black experience looks like. So that's one thing I'm gonna be putting out. That's my first course I'm ever like dropping. So like I'm super elated about it. I've been, saying I'm a hip hop scholar for a long time, and so it's dope to actually put out a course that reflects that.
Nice.
And then I have a book that I'm working on, which is an Afrofuturistic interpretation of the album, the EP that is The Journey to Infinity. And I'm working with a bunch of dope, like just my writer's room is a bunch of really geeky Afrofuturistic hip hop heads, like spiritual, like, in tuned people. So I'm just really happy to have that writer's room. They're picking apart my work and just putting it together in the best way possible. So like that's gonna be the next thing coming, inshallah. And I do plan on dropping a poetry book in October. So the book that I spoke about, The Journey to Infinity, is definitely gonna be sometime in the beginning of 2021, inshallah. And yeah, I look forward to just keep on developing my music. It's just getting better as I keep working and just connecting the dots with everything that I'm doing. So I recently started to build with a really dope team with my music, and I can't really talk too much about it because I really want to like make sure everything, like we're done with everything, but it's going to be a shocker for everyone. And I know that like people are going to be like, what, like it's crazy. But one thing I would definitely say that is also in development is this space in which I'm trying to develop for women who are, their first time coming into Islam or wanting to learn more about Islam through the platform of my podcast. And so inshallah that grows to be larger than what I expect, because I do want to help more sisters to learn more about Islam so that they can make that reversion and like really just come through with that. And so everything that's happening is like I'm planning these things, but Allah is the best of planners. So like I just kind of just keep I'm literally on Allah's like train, and like whatever is the next stop and Allah's like get off here, I'm like okay, no problem, so I'm just working on my iman and my deen.
Excellent. Well, we're very thankful to have you come and join us, give us some of your time and your energy, and we definitely want to continue our connectivity. We also are working to actually launch our online platform, NFX Learn, so we definitely like to get your course on there. We starting off with Dr. Z and resilience, so that's coming up soon. But anything else? Any closing remarks or uh, more social media information you'd like to give us for us to follow you and support you?
Yeah, sure. You could definitely support the podcast, Young Black Muslima. Always taking donations there. My whole intent there is to actually have once a month kind of gathering telekas to accept just like more people to come through and like witness shahadas online, because we are in this space of like separation that a lot of women DM me like, I want to convert, like what do I do, and they need witnesses, and so that's what it's developing into. So inshallah we can have you, Sister Marsha, come through and like support these sisters. They just really want to take shahada and they want to know the process of it, and just do it, and like so just having that space for them online is something that is being developed through the podcast Young Black Muslima. You can subscribe to basharegime.com as well, if you go ahead and log in. And then another thing I would definitely say is that I'm doing this Wonder Woman challenge, the Black Wonder Woman challenge, and we just lost Chadwick Boseman. A lot of people got kind of upset with like asking me, oh, why are you praying for him? Is he Muslim? Like, and I'm like, you should really question your question.
Yes.
Like, you know what I'm saying? So I would definitely say if anybody wants to, Imam Bilal, you got some bars. You sound like you got some bars. You out here rapping. You sound like, you want to drop some bars. Deen, if you want to drop some bars, but the Black Superman challenge as well.
Listen,
Above the
they
laws.
got a tape out there, sis. They ain't
We got a tape.
Yeah,
We got a tape.
They cut my bars out of that
tape. We got a tape.
though.
About to bring out the tape soon.
Dean got, but I do got some bars written down somewhere
Bring out the
though.
lost tape.
Or bring out the books.
But I'm just saying, the way y'all talk, it's like MC energy all the way. So like I'm just like, where's the bars at? Like, what are you going with this? But I definitely would love for more people to share that, the Black Women Challenge, and have more brothers to like kind of, that's that above the law beat, to just have that, and just stay tuned. I'm dropping more music, and everything is gonna be circling back to like my journey in Islam. And thank you guys so much for this platform. This
Thank you.
It's so beautiful. You guys are so beautiful, mashallah. And I just really wanted to make a dua, if that's okay. If you guys
yes, please.
Okay. Alhamdulillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah. Allah, thank you for all that you have provided us, giving us the ability to speak with our hearts and see each other with our hearts. Allah, let this continue and connect us all through artistry, through love, through peace. Help us to connect everyone to the beauty of Islam, to see how Islam has given us so much peace and love and connectivity to who we are, and has developed our character. Allah, thank you so much for everything that you have provided us. Al-Aziz, give us the ability to stay strong in this journey, in this dunya. Help us to come back together, to connect, and to be closer to you, Allah. Bismillah. Ameen.
Ameen.
Ameen, man.
I think that was the first duo on the show.
Not the same thing.
Just to bless the show for the next eon. Oh man, no, we thank you sincerely.
This.
Your Noor, mashallah, look at your Noor. Beautiful. I love it.
Excellent. Any closing remarks, Bilal? Imam, come on, what you got after that?
Where
the bars at? How you gonna win when you ain't right with that?
Yeah, right. No, this is good. I mean, alhamdulillah. I mean, we are very grateful. We're very grateful to have again Sister Boshia bless us with her presence. Again, we are all vessels. We are all vessels of Allah's will, of Allah's qadr. Like I said last time before, the last show, that we on our bodies are on interlibrary loans. We are borrowing these vessels. Yes, I'm saying these vessels are not. We don't own these vessels. This is a rental. Yes, I'm saying what we do with our time, with our age, with our health, and I forget the other things. But anyway, you get the point. Whatever we do with our time, our age, our health. I'm saying, it's important. I'm saying, and again, we at New Freedom Exchange, we We just don't talk. We're this platform is bigger than just us just at the round table like we are right now. This is a platform that we are expanding upon community development through empowerment. With the social dignity piece is tied to that. So all of the people that we bring in are all the people that we want to establish the Jamaat, the real Jamaat, because we always establish this community. The people always say, "Oh, we're a Jamaat, we're a community," but it doesn't feel that way. You know what I'm saying? We talk about pre-pandemic, pre-COVID, it didn't feel that way, to be honest. At least in my opinion, in certain places, it don't feel that way. It don't feel that same energy, and COVID, as quiet as it's kept, even though it has taken a lot of people's lives, people may differ opinion about whatever COVID is, but people have died, people have returned to Allah. And what it has caused us to do is to slow down. We have to slow down and do some introspection work on who we are and where we're going. You know what I'm saying? Because some of us maybe we're going off the path of the Sirat al-Mustaqim. Maybe it was going off to weighing to the right, weighing to the left, and sometimes Allah has to pull us back and say, wait a minute, hold up. Maybe you need some time away and time in the cave, in the Jabal Nur, our own Jabal Nur. So the Prophet, he went to the Jabal Nur and that's where he received revelation. But our houses or our places, have turned into our masajids. That's what Allah says. You make your earth is spacious. Your master could be anywhere. Your masala could be anywhere. So again, I'm just very appreciative for Sister Boshia and her presence. We want to stay connected with you. We want to build with you and what you have, and want to support you. So this platform is open to you whenever you need it. The book, the album, the whatever Sister Boshia has,
exactly, whatever
is here. The New Freedom Exchange is home. That's
Marsha, close us out.
Absolutely. So I just want to thank you so very much for being with us today. I see you as another example of exactly what it is that we're trying to present here on New Freedom Exchange, showing people that there is a commonality in being Muslim and being artists or being teachers or being community development workers, that we can be those things and we can be Muslim. And because we're Muslim, we're universal in expressing those things. And we don't have to choose, as long as it's out, right? As long as it's not something that goes outside of the confines of being Muslim. And I think so many of our young people need to see examples like you, to know that they can absolutely let their light shine, and not feel like it's somehow against being Muslim. That they can do both. They can do both, and they can, and both will look like the same thing, right? Because what you said earlier was, when I asked the question about being able to display your artistry and be Muslim, you were like, well, just be Muslim, and then the rest will happen. So we just thank you for being an example for that thing, so that young people can see that it's possible, and we could take this world by storm if we just be Muslim and do it how it's supposed to be done. And for our listeners, I just want to say one last thing. Just know that when I say be Muslim, just submit your will to Allah,
the Creator.
All the rest of what you think that may be so far off the path of what it really is. So when I'm saying be Muslim, I'm just saying submit your will to God. That's it.
Excellent. And I got my Living Islam Today shirt, the new T-shirt.
Shout out to brother Jihad Ahmed out of Philadelphia.
Yeah, so we're gonna be on. Actually, he gave us a show. We're gonna be on there September 19th, coming soon.
WRD Philadelphia. But hold on. First, we let it go. There's 2 more announcements for the homework, or 3 more announcements before we clean up here. Tomorrow we have Queen Candace, who is a self-taught financial coach out of Brooklyn, New York. She will become blessing us. She's a good friend of Sister Monica Grant from Young Boss Media. She'll be coming on to bless us about her story about financial literacy and being self-taught. You know what I'm saying, and how she is using psychology, her degree, and combining that with her financial empowerment course. Of course, swing down the bottom is the Bilalian Trust. So briefly, what the Bilalian Trust is a heritage fund we are on a quest to digitize and to curate as much of the history of the African American, Muslim, indigenous population here in the America and the Americas. We asked that we've submitted our first, or we have published our first publication of the Human and Dignity series, which is available if, in fact, that you are willing to donate $1, 50 cents, $20, $100, whatever you want to donate to the PayPal screaming across the screen below, please do. It is about the CRADE movement, which is the removal of the coalition for the removal of all images, racial images of the divine, started by Imam Warafuddin Muhammad, Bilal, forgive his sins, grabbing the highest station, Jannatul Firdaus, in the 80s. You know what I'm saying? And it was a crucial moment in time and history that needs to be documented and preserved. And then lastly, we have our Patreon, which is our NFX Daily, which is us providing you daily content, us getting these shows, getting these platforms, getting these wonderful people that you're seeing today. You know, since as Sister Boshia and as others, and as we bring more of these type of content, we ask that you all support us. You know, whatever you can, and come in whatever you can at whatever donation level you please. So that's my announcements.
Until next time, New Freedom Exchange, we're gonna still hit them 2 songs. One is Boss Lady with the Kemar, and then upload it, one of my new favorite joints. So thank you again, Sister Boshia, for coming on, blessing us, blessing the mic, giving us a special dua, giving us your insights and your guidance. And we thank you. And until next time, New Freedom Exchange. Peace.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Peace.
It's a dummy beat. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Hey, Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Hey, Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Hey, Miss Boss Lady can be nice. Hey, Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. 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 Miss Boss Lady can be nice. Look through the balls, look at the flaws, dripping and sauce. She making the prayers no matter the cost. No, she ain't putting it on. She repping the Deen, know what I mean, so she ain't never been false. She on the scene, getting that green, so she can never be false. She getting that check and on to the next. She sit alive. She demand respect, gotta come correct. Sauced up, dripping like ragu. Why she walking down the avenue? If you really wanna bag you, gotta go talk to a Abu. Ain't talking to Aladdin, I'm talking to Dad, and no, he ain't having. No pen sagging, no career having. Bumps sitting around playing Madden. She ain't playing no games, dealing with lames. Beautiful woman with brains. I call her Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar, cause I don't know her name. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady can be nice. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady can be nice.
Been a boss, I don't gotta floss. Staying humble cause I was lost. Now I'm rocking my Kemar. Getting all of them dinar. On my Deen and I go hard. Alhamdulillah, gotta thank God. Elevating and I can't stop. Don't waste my time and you getting blocked. Blast up, I put you on the spot. I be making moves and you talk a lot. Following procedure. Example for me, Khadija. I'm my own, not leasing. Stay on my grind, straight beastin'. Black excellence, they queenin'. I gotta do it. Putting Zawa in albums, I thought you knew it. I'm about my business, I keep it fluent. I slay so effortless, ain't no congruent. Purifying my heart, cause I got affluence.
Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady can be nice. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady can be nice. Miss Boss Lady. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Boss Lady. Miss Boss Lady with the Kemar. Miss Bounce Lady. Miss Bounce Lady. Miss Bounce Lady.
I don't know about you, but if you're not paying attention, Muslims in America need some transformation quick. They need some liberation quick. They need freedom quick. And if we were to look and research the Muslim lands, we will find colonization. And where you find colonization, you find the mind of the colonizer amongst the people. And until we detach ourselves, until the oppressor can no longer find you in himself, he has power over you. So all of us in here, inshallah, we're all Muslim. We're making salat, you reciting Quran. But if you have the chains of colonization on your mind, then you are the Quran in chains.
Time is now, I've been waiting. I'm too nice, been patient. Patients be waiting for the checkup. They need me to write them a prescription of the antidote of codeine they be mixing. Double shrink they be fixing. Propaganda got my people screwed up. Well, I'm here now, came to give you tough love. Love without limits. Yeah, you heard about us, it's the indigo. Vibrating high, fine, writing like a calligraphy pen in my mind. Signs come naturally, cause I know who I am and who I'm meant to be. No controlling me, I've been set myself free. Got a railroad, travel back through. Cause in the darkness, shining bright, I'm the moon. In the darkness, shining bright, I'm the moon. In the darkness, shining bright, I'm the moon. Born to light the way so my people get through. Born to light the way so my people get through. Move. If you don't want no problem, stop killing us, gonna come back to haunt ya. Ancestors lurking, we watching, we see you. Every plan that you building, gonna fall through, gonna fall through. Foundation lacking, knock you off your pedestal, cause you knew one day I would rule. Worth more than 40 acres and a mule. Worth more than 40 acres and a mule. Africans, we own it. Y'all know the explosion. Revolution will not be televised. It will be uploaded. Revolution will not be televised. It will be uploaded. Revolution will not be televised. It will be uploaded. Revolution will not be televised. It will be uploaded. It will be uploaded. Revolution will not be televised. It will be uploaded. Revolution will not be televised. It will be uploaded. Revolution will not be televised.